Recording in progress. Thank you for joining us. My name is Seema, and I am working at Empower as an Asia Development Assistant across East and Southeast Asian regions. I am happy to moderate this session, in which we have youth fellows join with us, where we will be discussing about what happens after the applause. Yes. So I would like to start with some house rules so that we have some rules and things defined. So this webinar offers interpretation in English, Hindi, Spanish, and Bahasa. You can select your preferred language by clicking the interpretation button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you are listening through interpretation, you may want to click on mute original audio so you hear only the interpreted languages. Just to clarify one thing, that if you want to hear it in Bahasa Indonesian, please click on Japanese language. And if you want the interpretation to be in English, I would please request you to join through Portuguese portal. I would also request the speakers to please speak at a moderate pace so our interpreters can follow. Might be a slight delay given the relay translation. Uh, we have also disabled the chats for all the attendees. So please use the Q&A box to post your questions, which we will either respond to in writing or try to address live. If any of the speakers experience internet bandwidth issues, they will either switch off their videos or jump off the call and join back. So in any which ways, they will be with us in some time. This session will be recorded and a copy of the recording will be shared with all the registrants post the webinar. So thank you so much once again for joining us and welcome everyone. This conversation takes place during the 70th session of the Commission on the Status of Women, where government, civil organizations, activists, and institutions gather together to reflect on the progress of women and girls worldwide. So, across these conversations, we hear a lot about youth leadership and youth participation. But today, at Empower, we take a pause to think on deeper questions like who sets the agenda? What actually changes once young people are into the room? Do young people simply speak or do they influence what happens next? And who defines what success looks like? So these may be some of our things that we will take forward in this session, because these are the decisions that shape everything that follows. Not to explore that, we are now framing today's discussion as a power audit, not in a technical sense, but as a way of examining how decisions actually happen in the spaces of young people, where young people move through. A power audit simply asks questions like who defines the problem, who decide what the priorities are, who tells the story about what matters, and who ultimately decides what success looks like. When young people influence those moments, leadership begins to shift in meaningful ways. And I would again double click on how leadership changes everything in meaningful ways. So, to ground this conversation with lived experiences, today we have joined with us youth fellows from across the countries Indonesia, Mexico, South Africa, and India. I would request all the youth fellows to introduce themselves. And as I said before, let's keep the pace a bit slow for our interpreters to get the time to interpret in the respective languages. And let's keep it short so that we also have time for the questions and the experiences that you will be sharing. So, anyone who would like to go first, most welcome. Yes, Alfina, please.
Halo semuanya, perkenalkan
Hello
nama aku
everyone,
Alfina
my name is Alfina Damayanti.
Aku berasal
You can
dari
call me
Indonesia.
Alfina. I'm from
Aku berasal dari
Indonesia.
Empower
I
Southeast
am
Asia.
representing the
Di
Empower
sini aku
Southeast
sudah
Asia
bergabung sebagai youth
chapter.
fellow sejak
I'm
tahun
joining as a youth. I
2022.
joined the youth fellow
Di Indonesia kami
since
berfokus mengenai
2002.
kerja-kerja
In
tentang
Indonesia,
kesehatan
we
mental,
focus
dan saya
on
sendiri
working on
juga
the
aktif
issues of
sebagai
mental
leader
health,
di Yayasan
and
Sanggar
I'm also
Harapan yang berfokus
actively
pada
working
pemberdayaan
in a
anak,
foundation called
remaja,
Sanggar
dan
Anak
pemuda,
Harapan.
serta
We focus on
pemenuhan hak
empowering
terkait edukasi
children,
dan juga ruang
young
aman.
people, and we work on education
Salam
and
kenal
the
semuanya.
opening up of safe spaces. Greetings to all of you.
Thank you so much, Elfina. We will move forward to our next youth fellow. Melanie, would you like to go?
Yes, of course. My name is Melanie. I live in Ecatepec in the state of Mexico. In Mexico, I participated in Empower, doing surveys with young people, and we had an event um, with the events we had identified, and we had a podcast on those topics, and it was from youth to youth.
Thank you so much, Melanie. Jyoti and Lange. Yeah, Jyoti.
Hello, my name is Jyoti Pandit. I'm from Rajasthan State, Jaipur district. I am studying nursing and I'm in the final year. And I got connected to Empower Azad Foundation. And Azad Foundation is one of the partner organization of Empower. And so from the Empower funded program to Azad Foundation as a partner. So I got connected through that association. And in 2022, I started working on child marriage issues. And then GSC Girls Advisory Council 2024-25. So grant monitoring, proposal review, organizational engagement, and now I am a youth advisory council, a part of youth advisory council. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jyoti, for sharing about yourself. I guess we have Lenge, last but not the least.
Hello everyone. My name is Langilishe Malinga, and I am from South Africa, representing Fight with Insight. As you can see, the gear as I'm representing them. So, from my journey with Empower is that I moved from being a shy teenager growing up in Hillbrow to becoming a confident youth leader and mentor. So, Empower's support to Fight with Insight has played an important role in shaping my confidence, leadership, and sense of purpose. So, just to give a little bit of background context in terms of what Fight with Insight is, we are a youth program based in the inner city of Johannesburg that supports young people through sports, mentorship, and life skills development. So the program is built around the 6 F's, which is the food, future, family and friends, feelings, and fun. So these areas focus on developing young people and also their well-being. So the program also includes a structure where we have the youth council, where we come together as the youth leaders to discuss concerns and ways to improve the organization. So thank you for being provided the platform to introduce myself.
Thank you so much, Lenge, and thank you so much to all the youth fellows for introducing themselves. To be honest, this webinar feels so powerful after listening to all the introduction. I am excited to hear all the experience that you are going to share, and I believe all the audience are also waiting to listen to you. So let's begin with the knowledge and agenda setting. So, in many institutions, whether philanthropy, research, or government, certain forms of knowledge are given more importance, or can say are taken more seriously than others. Data may carry authority, research may carry authority, professional credentials may also carry authority. But lived experiences, the experiences or the instances that the youth is going through in their daily lives, does not always carry the same weight. So, Melanie, my first question I'll like to start with you. I would like to know, in the spaces you have worked, such as philanthropy, youth led research, media, and organizing, what kind of knowledge are taken most seriously? Where does lived experiences sit?
Well, I would like to start with giving a bit of context on the work we have done as a grantee with other grantees. I am an Empower grantee. I am participating actively for 2 years, and currently I am participating in this podcast project. But everything has its story, right? And this one started because I was working in an employability uh, organization that supported Empower. So before this call for being an Empower Fellow, we landed on a topic that impacted me a lot because I did not know this word, adult centrism. Um, and it was a new word for me. It was a new topic that we dealt with. It was very concerning for me because I did not even know the meaning, nor did I realize I had been falling into this adult centrism. So I had already fallen into this. And I thought, if I was falling into this without realizing it, I may be falling into other behaviors without realizing it. So I participated. I participated in the session of for fellows, and fortunately, I was selected. So this changed my life in many ways, and I started participating as a fellow because I was chosen in our first project was a survey to identify the problems experienced by youth. We found three main topics which were affecting us as young people. The first one was education and dropping out rates from school because of economic issues or other types of problems, and because of the violence in schools. Um, Also, on unemployment, because young people are discriminated against when they're trying to find jobs because of lack of experience. They don't provide dignified jobs for youth. And third was mental health, how this affects us. And we don't prioritize it as we should. We don't give it importance because we've always been told it's not as important as physical health. So these were our three main problems that we identified that were affecting youth. So identifying these problems that affected us as youth, we started this podcast, which is led by three fellows, three grantees, Jennifer, Hector, and I. We participated very actively choosing the name of the podcast. We felt in such a safe space. And we felt that this went hand in hand with adult centrism because everything that we did and provided in this podcast is of value for all types of people. So we selected specific topics, the logo, in choosing the experts who are going to come and talk, because our podcast is about creating a safe space to visibilize the problems that young people experience today with information from experts, and also showcasing some networks of support. So what I like about being a fellow in this podcast is being able to shed light on these topics, that young people may access these topics that are affecting them. And just as it happened to me with adult centrism, maybe the people who listen to us realize they're not the only ones. They find a voice in us. With all of this having been said, I learned and developed different skills in different spaces of my life, socially, work, in school, even in my family. And I like this new boldness I feel, daring to say what I think, doing new things, because I've always, I was never all that extroverted. And now you see me speaking here in the camera with no insecurities, Now everything goes hand in hand. Everything you used to tell me, what you're saying is not as valuable as if you were an adult. All of this changed as I learned. I like active listening. I did not have active listening skills. These were developed and I love it. And also, this confidence I feel in speaking publicly. I would not have been able to do this 2 years ago. I like this new change in me. I feel I am very sociable now. I enjoy speaking with all types of people, and I just love it, love it, love it. This guest helped me in different spaces. Again, I'm more sociable. I want to help. I want to support. When I have the chance, I like to make programs focused on people in my community or who need support, help with continuing their studies, for instance. These are things I did not used to do before. This has helped me a lot socially because I am participating in a social cause in my country. I participated in a protest manifestation in favor of some animal rights. And so now I can present my ideas to people. I'm, I'm, I'm sorry I didn't say this before because right now I'm super nervous, but I'm also studying merchandising. But this self-confidence, which I'm talking, um, makes adult people now take me into account, listen to me. So socially, I can say I did that. In work, I work in marketing in a company. So now I feel more confident giving presentations in marketing. I can now talk with more confidence before the cameras. I can, presenting in public was something I used to hate, but now that changed a lot. I like giving my opinion, giving my ideas because now I feel they are valued, and sharing my ideas. And I'm also open to more things, but now I can speak more firmly. I don't feel as insecure. All of this that I have said makes me realize that this process I have experienced, now adults take me more seriously. They don't judge me anymore. I don't feel judged. And it has been a very, very enriching process, which got sparked or kickstarted by this concept of adult centrism. And we may fall into these worldviews without realizing, as it happened to me. I appreciate being able to continue to participate as a fellow of Empowered. It has changed my skills, it have improved my abilities, and I am happy I participated as a fellow of Empower. That would be it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melanie, for sharing everything that you shared. The situation and the circumstances that you have shared was literally something that we always go through, but it not might be the same for everyone. So thank you for sharing this. Oh, my second question was actually a part of your answer that you just shared, but I would just like to frame it in front of you by any chance if you have anything left you want to share about it. So is there something related to who sets this agenda, and if you have already shared examples where you are you have people help define priorities, right? Like how young people are defining their priorities, and also what changed as a result. I could see in your answers the changes that you told, how confident you are now to speak in front of people. You are confident enough to give presentations as well. So, across these questions, do you have anything else left that you would like to share?
I think, no, not really. Just add that we young people want to be listened to tell to young people dare to do things that are different, that the things that we experience are valid. We all have uh, things of value to share, and we can experience changes from the inside as it happened to me. And that leads us to being able to help young people present their problems that they experience. So just telling young people, dare to do new things, even if it's difficult. Don't allow yourself to fall into adult-centric views, because we all have the same value and we should dare to do new things to generate change. That would be it.
Thank you so much, Melanie, once again. And what we are hearing here is that power often sits with whoever defines the problem first. If institutions define the problem alone, they also define the solution. But when young people help define these problems, the entire conversation can shift. So, with this, let's move forward to our next section, which is consultation to influence. In many youth initiatives, your young people are called to participate, but participation can mean different to everyone, right? Sometimes young people are only called to give their inputs, but the final decision remains unchanged. And sometimes young people, um, we can say their perspective genuinely shapes when they are taken into consideration, and this also happens a lot of times. So the question we want to explore now is, and I would like Lenge, if you could answer to this question. Could you share a moment where youth input or your input went beyond consultation and shaped a final outcome? And also, I have two questions for you. If you could answer this question, and then I would move forward with the second question. Thank you.
All right. So one example that stands out for me is, so I'll be speaking in relation to reflecting with Fight with Insight, the organization that I belong to. So in Fight with Insight, we used to organize annual end-year prize giving ceremony. So for many years, the event used to follow the same format and routine. So what would happen is that the end of year prize giving would happen at a restaurant called Greg. So it would take place there. And then the planning process involved, so the coaches and the youth council structure that I spoke about earlier on, to say that the youth leaders would come together to make decisions. So they were invited to submit a list of nominations for the participants that were participating within their different activities and programs. So the ceremony itself followed a familiar structure where awards were presented, everyone shared a meal, and then the event concluded. While the event was meaningful, over time, it began to feel like a routine. So in this case, the format didn't really change. It was always the same thing over the years. So what had happened was that in 2023, the event committee recognized that the ceremony had become predictable and decided to approach things differently. So during one of the youth council meetings, where we as the youth coaches come together to meet, the youth council was invited not only to nominate the participants, but also to actively contribute ideas about how the entire event could be improved. So this created like a different conversation where youth council members began sharing suggestions and building on each other's ideas. So one of the first things that we discussed was the venue. So instead of automatically returning to the same location, we suggested that there should be a process where members could vote, so where the youth coaches could vote on possible venues. So that was one of the things. And then another suggestion was that from the youth council, we recognize that, so in this case, what would happen is that the coaches would be recognized for their hard work during the end of the year. So in this case, we decided that, so usually they would give us some little token of appreciation in terms of gifts. So we were invited to say, what do you want to be included in those giving away of the gifts? So in that case, coaches would nominate, we want this kind of training kit, we want t-shirts, we want techies and all of that. So that was another thing. And then also we also proposed reducing the number of award recipients to the learners. So in this case, back then, everyone was getting the award. So it didn't feel like a surprise, you know. So in this case, by just reducing the number of recipients, it created that sense of anticipation and excitement around the nomination. So that recognition felt more meaningful and also special. So that what was important about this moment was that these ideas were not simply noted and just left aside. I mean, they were taken seriously and then implemented. So since 2023, the Youth Council has continued to be invited to help shape the planning of the prize giving ceremonies, you know, which means that young people are now contributing to decisions that influence the culture and the experience of this event. So for me, that moment represented a shift from consultation to influence. So instead of only being asked for nominations, young people were trusted with, you know, ideas of what do you want this event to be like. So I really, actually, those were one of the moments that were very exciting. So yeah, that's the response.
Thank you so much, Lenge. And I can truly tell that, including me, everyone could feel that excitement while you were sharing, like how youth council has given you that space and other young leaders around you to make the decision. I just love how you said, give us what we want, right? And how recognition can be so meaningful. Even a simple a minor recognition that your work was well, it can be so meaningful to us. So thank you for sharing that. You have already covered what I actually wanted to ask, how actively youth council and you have been participating. So thank you so much. Now I would like to then move forward with my next question to Jyoti. Jyoti, so I would like to know from you, when young people disagree with adults or any institution, what usually happens, and what would healthy, constructive power sharing look like in these moments?
धन्यवाद. Hello. Thank you, Seema. So whenever youth disagree with any NGO or institution, they always put forward that card of that you have a less experience. And ultimately the resources, funding, and all philanthropical opportunities, it's like actually organization holds it with their hand, and most of the time they hold the power and they decide. And so many times it is a very regular practice that even from, I'm speaking from my live experiences and panel public discussions, and uh, uh, they just show that they are very youth friendly, and they are so considerate towards you. But after the event finishes, they just don't recognize them, even their contribution, and they always try to this is a really a power holding institution, and youth is struggling with their own decision with over their own life in the community or in the society and their families, and they really aspire for the real change. But most of the time youth has the limitation of they don't have the leadership, and their hard work is not recognized in the proper manner. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jyoti. And yes, we as youth, we have truly felt how not recognizing something feels like. And thank you for sharing your personal experience as well. It takes a lot to share it on any platform. So thank you so much. These stories actually remind us what real influence is. Not all that real influence is not always neat or comfortable. It often involves disagreements, negotiations, and learning across generations. But these tensions can actually lead to change, and I would say meaningful change, which will begin. So let's hope for the best. And our next question, let's move on to our next section, basically, which is redefining success. So, our next question looks at something that often appears neutral but is deeply connected to power. That is how we define success. It's a heavy sentence, right? How one can define success, what it is. In many programs, success is defined through indicators created by institutions. Members reached, activities conducted or completed, timelines met. But if young people help define these themselves, this kind of success themselves, the picture might look very different. So I would ask Alfina to answer my next question, which is, who usually defines what success looks like in youth initiatives? And if young people co-define success, how might indicators shift?
Okay. First of all, I would like to explain a bit about the Youth Fellow Indonesia projects. After the ongoing processes over the past 3 years, on the first year, we did a research on 130 participants in regards to their mental health and the sexual and reproductive health and rights, or SRHR. In the second year, we conducted education on mental health for these young people. And after that, we also organized a creative video competition on the topic of mental health. And this year, we are currently in the process of training and organizing a suggestion for schools. So basically, we're going to tell schools on how to best create their mental health SOP. We see that adults and young people, they have different perspectives when it comes to defining successes. Just like what you have mentioned before, the adults, they usually see success as something quantitative, as a checklist. But for young people, we see that success should be measured by a set of more meaningful indicators. On the second year, for example, when we conducted education on 20 youth, both in school and out school youth, we found out that they thought that success means acknowledging what's currently happening. So success for these young people means that they're acknowledging what is happening, and when they seek help, those are not the indicators that we set for them, but they created their own indicators. And each individual, based on their own personal experiences, they come up with their own success indicators. Young people, some of them, they even spoke out about their concerns through videos. And doing that is an indicator in itself, right? Basically, they're doing what they think is the indicator to reach success. Now, the question is, have we been open enough towards young people, enabling them to do that so that they will be able to achieve their own version of success? We realize that young people, they are very honest when it comes to participating. So, honest, when I say honest, I mean that young people, they will be very, very calculative when participating in an event, because if it's not safe for them, they'll just back away. So we, as adults, as organizations, as institutions, need to open up an opportunity for young people to make their own decision, because young people, they are very concerned about their safety. If we are not opening up a space where they can be truthful to themselves, then they won't be able to participate. They will not want to participate. And I think we should also talk about the adults. Adults need to be able to collaborate with young people, and adults need to help facilitate young people so that young people can achieve their utmost potential. So the adults, they need to provide young people with material and non-material supports, in my opinion. And we also found out that success for young people is measured on how secure they are. So this is another indicator of success for young people. When young people are feeling safe, they will start to trust us. And as their trust grows, they'll start to think even more widely. And a lot of solutions and new things will come out from there. And solutions to enable such condition sometimes is very cultural. One of our participants, their name is Alpha. Alpha told us that they have a concern in regards to their friend. So one of Alpha's friend is actually a person with mental disability, and sometimes this person showed up signs of committing suicide. Alpha, along with the 20 youth leaders that we trained, they decided to create an SOP. So we are currently in the process of writing the SOP, and on the 2nd of April, they will present this draft SOP in front of the education office, health office, and the school. SOP on the safety and security of students' mental health. They will be presenting it to the formal institutions. And that's like one example on how young people create a project that determines their own success indicators and really do it. And the second example is from another fellow who said that they were experiencing insomnia. It was hard for them to fall asleep. And because of that, they decided to conduct a research on why young people are so easy to overthink, and then they created a video and then they published it to social media. So I say they, but it's actually one person because Indonesian language is gender neutral, so it's like a person. So this person, they created a video. Alandra is the name. Created a video on why young people are overthinking. So what I want to say is that young people, they might be able to offer solutions that are very cultural, very empathetic. And when the solutions that young people are offering are very empathetic, I believe the solution will be able to move people because there is like this kind of emotional connection between the solution and then the people implementing the solution. When when young people is implementing a very emotional and cultural solution, I believe that young people will be pushed to do their best, and and it will escalate their self-confidence in advocating for that issue. So if we let young people design a solution, the solution will be very cultural and empathetic, and other young people who follows that solution will be able to foster their confidence because it's basically like tailor-made for them, from young people for young people. So contextualizing solution is something that is very meaningful, and we can only contextualize solution by involving young people from the beginning. That's my answer, and I'm going to give the floor back to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elfina. I take your words with me, which is for young people from young people. This is so powerful and meaningful as well in the same way. Thank you so much for sharing all the experiences of your friends as well and your experiences too. I could also relate to how you said that honest youth are, how honest they are, and how they are deciding to whether they want to participate in something or no. Even that's a decision making that they are starting with, right? And in the initial stage. So, yeah, thank you. Applause for that. Now, I would like to ask the same question to Jyoti, and I would like to repeat the question once again. So, Jyoti, uh, this is it's the same question for you, which is who usually defines success? Uh, uh, Success looks like in youth initiatives, and if young people co-define success, uh, how the indicators might shift.
Most of the time, youth initiatives indicators decided by the donor, program staff, and खास तौर and especially it is how many workshops they have conducted, how many youth participated there. All these indicators are necessary, we understand that, but apart from that, you need to get into the depth about the, because we are not only representing the institution which are the donor driven indicators, but it is also important how those women or girls are thinking, because if like 500 girls participated in that workshop, but the indicators of the success from their point of view is different, because their success indicators could be they should feel safe while going to the school. They can say no to early marriages. They can participate in the discussion in the like corner meetings or the community based discussions. And so these are this girls advisory council, we discuss all this because I was also there, and from my point of view, it's my own experience that whenever youth take a charge of the processes, we completely change the success indicators. And when we started working on the child marriages, when we started discuss about so we deny the idea of only taking awareness sessions. We put that in, put one another indicator in that, girls should take charge their own decision to get educated, to go to school, say no to early marriages. So indicators of donors or institutions are completely different, and the whatever the young girls were actually thinking about the mobility, about the confidence, enhancement in their confidence, or confidence increasing, their public speaking skills, and all these things are very important for the youth. And young girls especially. So many youth initiatives are taking charge of real indicators of whatever the changes or transformation youth leaders are actually looking at it. Thank you so much. Shukriya Seema ji. Sorry. Thank you, Seema. And I want to change organization or in NGO. There should be they should be on a one page, because the regular audit, work evaluation, and what women and youth are actually their participation level of their participation is important, and how you are how youth and women are actually looking at the, and it is important for the equal opportunity, equal salary, without any discrimination. So it is important to understand this.
Yeah, could you please repeat the question? Thank you.
Okay. So it's about the part of the redesign question, right? So if I could redesign one rule, I would ensure that young people are not only consulted but are part of a decision-making structure. So too often you find that young people are invited to share their opinions, but the final decisions are still made without them. So I would change that by making youth representation a requirement in spaces or also in institutions where decisions about young people are made, so that their perspectives are genuinely shape the outcome. So, for example, at Fight with Insight, we try to practice this through our youth ambassador roles, So we have 6 ambassadors. So each ambassador represents a focus area, so such as fitness, functional feelings, food, fun, family and friends, and in future. So in these roles, these young people and coaches are encouraged to listen to the other younger participants and then bring their ideas into the youth council structure. And then in this helps the activities to stay connected to that focus area that they are focusing on. So in this case, this creates a structure where the youth coaches are not just giving feedback, but they are actively contributing to the decisions and to the decisions that actually affect the program. So in this case, the broader program, which is Fight with Insight. So I would do that.
Thank you so much, Enge. Alfina, would you like to go next? Or Melanie, any one of you can go.
If I have the opportunity to redesign an initiative for young people, there are three that I would like to offer. The first, as Seema has mentioned in the beginning of this discussion, how we can position personal experiences of individuals, experiences, but also knowledge, their adaptive solutions that they have practiced. How do we recognize this as a body of knowledge that it deserves to be recognized as general knowledge? So knowledge doesn't mean academic knowledge only, but also personal experience and knowledge. Second, sustainability, ensuring sustainability for all beneficiaries or stakeholders and young people being associated with the program. When one person is being fully, optimally strengthened in terms of capacity, they will have a huge potential to distribute that kind of capacity and knowledge to other people. So they are now peer educators or peer counselors. I think this can serve as a more effective way to enlarge scope, because young people are more easier, are more it will be much more easier to relate with peers and young people compared to older generations. And third, seeing young people not just as objects, but subjects that are deserving for investments. For instance, there are a lot of young people currently involved in risky practices, behaviors. Donors and stakeholders will label them as problematic, but they are also seen as vulnerable targets and interesting targets for programs. I think, as a matter of fact, not a lot of them, not a lot of these donors, for instance, are uh, have faith to invest to them, actually, to give them faith, the opportunity to change. This is my reflection working with Saluran Harapan and youth fellows on the second phase of our program. The people labeled as risky, problematic, they are considered undeserving as beneficiaries, these young people. And I don't think it's right. I think as organizers, as decision makers, we need to be committed to ensure that inequality needs to be to be to not continue. In practice, I would like to invite all of us to position young people in decision-making positions and end-to-end, from beginning to end, having them executing, making decisions. So these young people, firsthand, based on their own experiences, we see a lot of instances where adult stakeholders, they don't have enough patience to go through these processes with young people. So organic, well facilitated processes, I believe, will result to great results. That is all for me. Thank you so much, Seema.
Thank you so much, Elfina, and to Lange and Jyoti as well. Just we'll wait for Melanie to answer this question. Then I would like to just summarize your answer. There are like a lot of learnings that we all are going to take away from all the suggestions that you have been giving. So let's just hear out to Melanie now. Melanie, would you like me to repeat the question for you, or is you're okay to answer it?
No, I remember the question. Thank you. If I could change something, mainly I believe it would be the opening of spaces so that young people can collaborate in different ambiances. There's a lot of road to travel for collaboration, accepting youth collaboration respectfully so that they can participate. It's very clear to me in the workspace, there's not many chances for them to have a dignified job because of lack of experience. So providing those opportunities to work, because how can they expect us to have experience if we don't get the opportunities? So this ideology they have about young people that because they're young, they don't know much. They may prefer an adult because an adult has more experience. But during this whole process, I have realized that um, they, the work capacity of a young may have the same weight as an adult. Maybe we're going to uh, do the job not in a bad way, but we could do it differently and better because we have different ideas. If we can collaborate effectively between adults and young people respectfully, this would change the energy in different spaces. I think that if I could change, I would do it in the sense that young people don't have these spaces where we can develop in a more effective way, in that we are valued the same as adults, as I have been saying. Yes, it would be that the opening of spaces for young people to develop freely and that they be heard and listened to. And it's not about just listening to them, but that they also implement our knowledges. I would change. That's what I would change. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melanie, and thank you so much to all our four panelists for sharing your views on how this change can take place and what you would like to redesign. And yes, it is very important for us to have these kind of spaces where young people are not only enabled to speak or allowed to speak, but also heard and also valued, right? And given a chance where they can develop. This space is really very important for all the young people. And thank you for putting this forward. And also, knowledge, like I could see how from all the answers that you have shared, one thing that was consistent is that it's not really about experience experience in terms of jobs. Some, like, youth are not vulnerable. Youth, maybe, as you said, Melanie, that it's not bad work that you do. It might be different. They might do some work in a different way, right? So yes, maybe these spaces, when developed, they will understand that way of different ways of youth to undertake their jobs or any kind of work they are undertaking. So thank you so much everyone for sharing this now, and thank you to all our attendees for hearing all our panelists and giving us this time. I would now like to open this panel for you. Now a question to all the attendees here out is, um, for all the panelists, sorry, not for the attendees, my question for all the panelists is, what would you like the world to know about youth programming? What do you if think we should be doing differently to be more responsive to the needs of young people? This question is to all the panelists. I mistook it with attendees, but this question is to all the panelists. If I wasn't clear, if you want me to repeat the question, I can go for it. Or if it was clear, anyone can answer to it, please. Okay, I will repeat the question to all the panelists. Melanie, Lange, Alfina, Jyoti, this question is for you. Anyone can answer. So the question is, what would you like the world to know about youth programming? What do you think we should be doing differently to be more responsive to the needs of young people? Please take your time. I know this question can take a lot of thoughts. So please do take your time. And anyone who's ready can go up with the answer.
I would like to go, please.
Yes, please, Alfina. Yeah. Thank you.
If you ask me about what I think the world should know about youth programming, we need to say this. Youth programming doesn't only talk about youth issues, but it also talks about how that program is being created by and for and with young people. So it's not just the issues of youth. We focus on that often, but we don't involve young people as often. Ask the ask them about the challenges that they face. And if you ask me about what we should be doing differently or should change, well, that would be how adults should give opportunities and trust towards young people so that they would have uh, decision making powers, the ability to voice their expressions, and to be responsible of all of that. Because oftentimes we see that adults um, involve themselves too much in a lot of our spaces. It's not that we don't want them anywhere in our work, but as representative from Indonesia, we see in our experiences that adults, they try to intervene in places, situations where we are actually trying to find our own answers, trying to be responsible of our own actions. So these chances are being taken away from us. When do you expect us to learn if we are not given the opportunity to explore? So we want to be able to find our own answers and to create our own movement. So the awareness to know when to help or facilitate young people, and to an extent that is proper, acceptable. I think that is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfina, for sharing your thoughts. Anyone else would like to go forward, like answer this question?
Um, can I
Yes,
go?
yes, please.
Just, I was just taking a memory lane, looking back. So I would say that in this case, youth programming takes time. It's a you're working with young people, and from what I'm viewing as a young person is that you are going through that. I wouldn't say that stage where we are still deciding, still trying to find our feet. So in a case where we've got these institutions and structures that are in place, the adults that are involved or the directors that are involved within that organization should understand that having patience, working with young people requires that kind of patience where you need to understand that whatever that they are imposing in terms of what they are asking is something that is coming from their own experience of what they are experiencing within the program. To say that whatever issues and concerns that they are bringing to the table, they're not just random, but they are from their own personal experience. To say that when we raise these issues within the to the into the in the structure, it is to say that we are personally experiencing, we are on the ground. Yeah, we are on the grassroots, so we are experiencing. And then you find that that from the above, there's that shift where we don't really understand what you young people are experiencing. So we adults need to be very patient with us and understand where we are coming from with our experiences. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lenge. I guess we all the panelists might agree to what you said. Like we are on the ground, right? And like others must take the effort to understand us where we are actually coming from. Yes, definitely. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you so much to all the panelists as we are almost done with this webinar, and it was great having you all here on the panel with this great uh, uh, topic of what happens after the applause, what real youth leadership looks like, what success looks like, right? So as we close, perhaps the question we leave with is, if we truly believe in youth leadership, what must change after the applause? Applause is easy, right? Sharing agenda setting, listening serious to lived experiences, and allowing young people to shape decision, that is what is hard. But it is also what real change will look like if this happens. So thank you so much to all the panelists. Thank you, Melanie, Alfina, Jyoti, and Lange for sharing all your thoughts. It was really valuable having you all here. A very special thank to our program team for taking running through all the process of having this conversation and having the youth over here and let them share again, giving a space where they are heard. Thank you so much to our interpreters who became the mediators for this diverse webinar that we conducted with so many languages. It was phenomenal to have diverse languages on this panel, but also able to understand each and everything. So thank you everyone, and absolute and greatest thanks to all our attendees for coming here, taking out your time, and we totally understand how time is really important in these days, right? So thank you so much for letting this space for youth to be heard. Thank you for lending your ears, and thank you for your time. Thank you so much, everyone. Hope you have a good day, and we close here. Thank you so much.